What is up, everybody? Today I got a crazy story time for you guys, but before I tell you that story, I just want to let you guys know that I am 10 subs away from 400, so if you can please just tell your mom, tell your aunt, tell your uncle that touches you weirdly to subscribe. That would be so awesome. Literally, it's as easy as clicking share and sending it to them and say, hey, yo, can you click subscribe? It's that easy. And if you could get maybe 1,000 people to do so, that would be awesome, because then not only would I be entertaining you guys, but I'd be able to make a living off of it. So with that being said, we're going to get right into the story. So today's story involves 4 friends, and let's call them David, Gerald, Jimmy, and Phil. Now, all 4 of these friends grew up together. They all kind of grew up in the same small town, but David and Phil went to a college that was pretty big, and there was really big parties at this college, and they just weren't used to it, so they invited their other friends to come down and party for a weekend. Now, this weekend happened to be on Halloween. So, Gerald and Jimmy came down that Thursday. Halloween was on a Saturday. And, they had these huge plans to party. And so, the second that all 4 of the friends were in the same town, they, got someone who was older to buy them alcohol. And David and Phil knew a couple girls, obviously, because they went to college there. So, they invited a couple girls to their dorm. And so they were just drinking in their dorm room, with these girls, and it was a good time. Everyone was having a good time. And as the night progressed, it was the Friday before Halloween, so there was a lot of parties going on. And David and Phil's phones were getting blown up, by all their friends down there, saying all the parties that were going down. So, they were negotiating with their friends, Gerald and Jimmy, like, where do you want to go? Kind of explaining what was going to be going on at every party and kind of, picking the best option of where they should go. So after some negotiating, the friends finally decided that there was these 2 parties they wanted to go to. Now, David and Phil were part of a fraternity, so they thought they had to stop by that party. And then there was another party going on about a mile away that they were going to go to after. So, these 4 friends, not being very smart and being used to a small town setting, had a case of beer that they were carrying around in a backpack. Now, usually this wouldn't be a big deal in the small town they grew up in, but obviously in a college town, that's a huge red flag for cops. But anyway, they had this bag of beer, and they went to David and Phil's fraternity's party. Everyone was super friendly to them. They had a good time, but eventually they figured out they had a lot of friends at this other party they were hearing about, so they decided to leave. Now, these 4 friends were kind of under the influence, but the night was just starting, so they were kind of just buzzed. They were just now feeling it, and they still had like 15 things of beer in their bag. So the 4 friends said their goodbyes to the fraternity members and were on their way to the next party. On the way to the next party, David and Phil saw a girl they knew in a car, so they started talking to them in the middle of the road. As they were talking to the friend, a cop passed them on the other side of the street. And obviously this alarmed the 4 friends, but in a smaller town, most cops are pretty friendly, and that's not really a big deal. So after the 4 friends were talking to David and Phil's friend, they, continued on their way to the party. Now, on the way to the party, Jimmy had this great idea that it'd be funny to hit his head on the stop sign, and as he was doing that, a cop saw him do it. And so naturally, the cop sees 4 people, hitting stop signs. He's going to think these people are on something, and he rushes out over to the 4 friends, pulls a gun out, and yells at them all to get on the ground. Now, this could have been less of a problem, but David had a beer in his pocket. He was wearing a hoodie, and so it was spilling all over him, and he kept trying to fix it. And the cop thought that he had a weapon or something. So, right away, David got handcuffed and thrown into the cop car. Well, I don't know if you guys remember, but this is David's college town. All these other friends don't really know what they're doing, other than Phil. And Phil's scared out of his mind because there's a cop next to him. And so at this point, the 4 friends thought they were in pretty big trouble, other than Gerald, who had the amazing idea to set his drink behind the curb so none of the cops saw it. So at this point, Gerald was pretty much in the clear because he had nothing on him and he wasn't intoxicated. None of them were really intoxicated, but they all had some form of alcohol on them, and obviously that's illegal because none of them were of age to have alcohol. So David, Jimmy, and Phil all had to go to jail for questioning, and Gerald was just let off and went to some more parties. And so all the friends went to jail in separate cars, and they didn't know that the other friends were going to jail. So, David, obviously scared because this is his, stomping grounds, his friends don't know where they are, was asking the cop where he was bringing his friends. And he said, they're all going to jail with you, and you're going to have to be, in detox for 12 hours. Now, they all got brought to the same room and were getting asked questions, what were you doing? Why'd you hit the stop sign? Pretty much the standard stuff. And so, long story short, they realized that none of them were intoxicated, and so David did not have to go to detox for 12 hours, And so they got let off with a minor in possession, which is a $300 charge, and really nothing else. Now, this night could have went a lot worse. If David kept reaching his pockets, there was a chance he could have got shot. Especially with all the events going on today, cops really aren't the safest people in the world, and so he could have easily got shot if he kept reaching his pockets. There could have possibly been a weapon in there. But anyway, all these friends got let off with an MIP, and the moral of the story is, don't drink if you're underage. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family about Isaac Harrison on YouTube. It means the world to me. Thank you guys so much. I love you all so much, and I'll see you in the next one.